Hello and welcome to Mediumship Matters Mediumship Mini with me, Medium Hannah McIntyre. There's a lot of M's in that sentence. How are you doing? Today I have a question from Annetta. And Annetta wants to know about creating a live mediumship event, how we go about it. Now, there's two types of live, isn't there? There's live on the internet and there's live in person. So let's start with live in person, shall we? So obviously that is how I spend the majority of time for my business that I actually earn anything on. And that is getting gatherings of people together to demonstrate mediumship to them. So things that I would say about doing that, Annetta, is to don't overcomplicate it at the beginning. I have had such a journey with demonstrating mediumship, but I'm grateful for every lesson that I've had. So I'm starting 2023 very decisive about how I want my events to be. But the only reason I can be in that space is because of all the experiences I've had over the last 2 years. Amanda and I, and Kim, who's been helping me too, we have worked so hard on trying to find out what works for me as a medium and the audience. And that's really important to understand, that it's not just one path, one size fits all. So start off with a vision of what it is that you want to present, share, how you want to do it. So when I first started working with live audiences, I was working with my friend. She was doing evidential spirit connection links. I was reading cards and doing spirit guide readings. And that was really lovely because it was two of us. So there wasn't a huge pressure. I wasn't doing it on my own. I only had to work for 45 minutes. She only had to work for 45 minutes. It was much easier to maintain our energy. I mean, now when I do 2 hours, 2.5 hours, I am cream crackered by the end of the night. But when I did it with her, it was much easier to maintain. So if you've got someone you can do it with, I really recommend that. Or you're very clear about how long you're willing to work for, and I would start small and build up. I do believe that ticketed events are best because you want people that are really interested. You don't want people to come to your events who were a bit bored, saw it was on, thought they might come, might not. And I can tell you this in honesty. Every event I have ever done that has been for free, online or in person, I have lost a minimum of 35% of the audience on the night. Because when they haven't parted with money, they are less committed to show up. So bear that in mind however you wish you want to. So, be very clear about what you're offering so people know. I mean, one of the things I think we've really discovered is that lots of mediums work in lots of different ways with lots of different likes and dislikes for how they want their mediumship to be and how they want the nights they are doing to be. So be really clear, crystal clear to the people that you are inviting along what they are getting, and don't make it too long, too complicated. And learn with it. When I first started, we, for example, were putting out all the chairs and sometimes doing refreshments. And I'm lucky now, but I created my luck in this scenario. I have worked so hard and for so long that I now no longer need to do events where we are putting the chairs out, because I was starting the nights sweating and out of breath before I'd even got on stage. So things like that to think about. And I'm much pickier now about atmosphere. And that's actually a good thing to say to you. Think about your staging. Think about setting the scene. I went to see a medium once in a village hall who had all the strip lights on in the ceiling that were really, really bright. It was like mediumship in an operating theatre, or mediumship interrogated by the FBI. And it wasn't really the kind of lovely atmosphere. So soft lighting is good. How you're going to make your staging look. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated, but just thinking about that is really important. And thinking about whether the chairs are comfy enough for your audience for the amount of time they are supposed to be sitting in them. Always something interesting. Parking. Can they park? If they can't park, do you need to make sure you've got enough money to have someone outside showing them where to park? Is the venue easy to find? One of the biggest things for me is the village hall that I use for my Reiki courses locally. They're not on Google Maps. I wish they would just put themselves on Google Maps. It would make everything so much easier. But because they are not, I have to make sure that people have very, very clear instructions about how to find the hall, because it causes so many problems. And for that reason, I will never do a mediumship event there. I only do day courses there. So things like that are very important to think about. And of course, you have to be careful if you're trying to rent any hall that's connected to a church, because most churches do not welcome spiritual practices and events like us. Welcome to the dark side, Annetta. So that's that. Now, live on social media. I don't do it as often as I could because it is intense, draining, triggering, but I do it on occasion. I have to make sure I'm in a really good space. It costs me a lot in energy. I think the main thing is find yourself the way to do it that makes you feel most comfortable. I don't really go live on Instagram as much as I should because, in honesty, and I know my kids would take the piss out of me right now, but I just can't be bothered to learn how to use it to go live. Like if I use StreamYard for streaming on my Facebook. You have to pay for it, but I really like it, and you can brand it all and everything. If I use that, I know how to use it. It's easy, it's simple. I can see the comments. When I am doing it on Instagram, I don't know what's happening. It's a mild state of panic, and I'm sure I could manage, but, ease. So, I do the odd card reading event. I find evidential mediumship very difficult on Facebook because of the number of followers I've got. So because there's so many followers, there's more comments. Because there's more comments, you're trying to read through the comments to see if someone's responding to the evidence that you're giving. I know some mediums invite them on to do a live with them, but that always seems incredibly clunky. They spend ages waiting for them to join, and these people are not prepared, and they're in a kitchen with their family and someone's cooking and it's all very noisy. And I just think there's got to be more to life than this. So my tips are for live online: find the platform you're most familiar with, you're most comfortable with. Don't worry about when's your most popular time, when's this, when's that. Just start. I remember Annette Jackson just saying to me, just do your first live. Have you done a live yet? Just do it. All those years ago, and me feeling so petrified and vulnerable, but just going on and reading cards for people, and what a transformational experience that was for me. So don't over-egg the mix. Just get on. Do something you know very well, whether you are doing a talk about spirit or you're actually doing some work for spirit. Be out of your comfort zone, but in your comfort zone, if that makes sense. Lives at the beginning are not the place to try something you've never done before, although I have done that once I got more comfortable with it. And start small. And the key is, as always, just to start. Don't tie yourself up in knots, make it perfect. Is my background good enough? I mean, I have seen people going live with their dirty washing in the background, and that's not a medium that I would ever work with just because standards. But you don't have to have the most perfect backdrop. You don't have to have everything spot on. If you intend to go live often, I really, really, really recommend getting a ring light, getting a good microphone. My ring light is a cheap one from Amazon. I think it was about 30 quid. It's a bit wonky. The button on it's breaking, but it does the job. I have got this beautiful microphone that I used my Buy Me a Coffee subscriptions to purchase, which is a Yeti, which is how you can hear me sound so beautiful. And I also got myself a HDMI webcam, because the one that came with my actual laptop made me look like someone had smeared Vaseline over the camera. So those are things that you can get, which all in is probably about £150. My microphone is very expensive. I did have a cheaper one before. that will get you started. But equally, you can go live just on your phone. Prop it up nice and high. So I don't know, Annetta, but I have to be careful of my chins because I do like chocolate. So I have to prop things up high so I look good. And you'll have to get over facing your own face. And that was quite a baptism of fire for me. When lockdown started, I could see all my crazy expressions and all my quirks, and I know that some people really like me because I pull faces and stuff like that, but I was just horrified. Is this what I look like when I talk? Good God. So you'll have to kind of deal with that as well. So it's always, with all spirit things, it's a baptism of fire. Did that help? I don't know. These are my tips. This is what I would do. So I hope it did make sense, and I hope it prepares you for it. But Facebook, when you go on, will tell you 100 different things about the best time to be online when most of your subscribers are online and this, that and the other. Just ignore that and just start, because you've got to start somewhere and allow time for it to build. You're not going to blow your socks off with views on your first video, but if you keep at it and you keep trying, then who knows what you can achieve. Good luck.